My wife sat me down, trembling, and said, "I have a confession. I tested positive." I moved to comfort her, but then a horrifying thought took my breath away. We hadn't been together in months. My hands clenched into fists as I whispered, "Who did this to you?" She dropped to the floor, sobbing. "Please! I'll do anything!" I never thought I'd be sharing this, but here I am, hoping that putting it into words will help me process everything. My wife, Sarah, and I have been married for 10 years. We live in Chicago, in a modest apartment overlooking Lake Michigan. Our relationship had its ups and downs, like any marriage, but I always believed we had a strong foundation. Over the past few months, things between us had cooled. Work kept me late at the office, and Sarah often had evening commitments with her friends or at the gym. Our intimate life had dwindled, but I chalked it up to the natural ebb and flow of a long-term relationship. One evening, after a particularly grueling day at work, I came home to find Sarah sitting on the couch, her hands trembling. Her usually bright blue eyes were red-rimmed, and she looked like she'd been crying for hours. "What's wrong?" I asked, concern flooding my voice. She took a deep breath, her gaze fixed on the floor. "I have a confession," she whispered. "I tested positive." My heart dropped. "Positive? For what?" She hesitated, then met my eyes. "For an STD." I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. My mind raced. We hadn't been intimate in months. How could this be? "Who did this to you?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Tears streamed down her face as she collapsed to the floor, sobbing. "Please! I'll do anything to make this right." I stood there, fists clenched, a storm of emotions raging inside me. Betrayal, anger, sadness. I wanted answers, but I was too stunned to form the questions. After what felt like an eternity, I managed to speak. "How long has this been going on?" She looked up at me, her face a mask of guilt. "About 3 months," she admitted. "It was a mistake. I was feeling neglected, and I made a terrible choice." "Neglected?" "I worked long hours to provide for us, to ensure we had a comfortable life. I never imagined she felt that way." "Who is he?" I demanded. "A guy from the gym," she said softly. "His name is Mark." It didn't mean anything, I swear. Didn't mean anything? Our marriage was crumbling, and she said it didn't mean anything? "I need some time," I said, turning away from her. "I can't deal with this right now." I left the apartment and wandered the streets of Chicago, the city's lights blurring through my tears. How had we come to this point? Over the next few days, Sarah tried to reach out, but I couldn't face her. I stayed with a friend, trying to sort through my emotions. Eventually, we sat down and had a long, painful conversation. She expressed deep remorse and a willingness to go to counseling. I was torn. The trust was shattered, but part of me still loved her. We decided to attend couples therapy to see if we could rebuild what was broken. It's been a challenging journey, and some days are harder than others. But we're committed to working through this, one step at a time. Only time will tell if our marriage can survive this betrayal. We started therapy the week after her confession. I didn't speak much during the first session. I mostly sat there staring at the floor, listening to Sarah cry and tell the therapist how sorry she was. She talked about how she felt alone, like I wasn't there anymore, even when I was sitting right next to her. She said she didn't mean to cheat, that it just happened. That part stung the most. It just happened. Like tripping over a crack in the sidewalk. Like it wasn't a choice. I wanted to scream, but I stayed quiet. A few sessions in, I finally opened up. I told the therapist I felt like a stranger in my own home. That every time I looked at Sarah, I saw someone I didn't recognize anymore. That when I touched the doorknob to our apartment, my stomach turned. She cried again. I didn't. I was numb. I tried. I really did. I followed the therapist's advice. We did those weird homework exercises where we had to look into each other's eyes for 5 minutes straight. We did truth hours, where we talked about everything we were feeling. Sometimes it helped. Most times it didn't. Then one morning, about 2 months after her confession, I came home early from work. I had forgotten my laptop. I walked in, and the apartment was quiet. No music, no TV, just the soft hum of the fridge. Sarah was in the kitchen. She had her phone in one hand and was pacing. I don't know what made me stop and listen. Maybe it was the way her voice dropped low, almost like she didn't want anyone to hear. "I told you to stop texting me," she whispered harshly. "This was supposed to be over." Pause. "No. I'm trying to fix my marriage. You don't get to call me anymore." Another pause. Then I heard her say something that made my blood run cold. "No, I haven't told him about the second time. If he finds out, he'll leave me for good." I didn't move. I just stood there, invisible, frozen. The second time? I backed out of the hallway as quietly as I could and left. I sat in my car for 30 minutes, just staring at the steering wheel. My heart was racing. My mind was blank. So it wasn't just once. She had lied again. I didn't confront her that day. I couldn't. I was too angry. Too hurt. I didn't sleep that night. I just laid there, listening to her breathe next to me, wondering how many other lies were hiding under her skin. The next therapy session, I asked her directly. Calm voice. No emotion. "Was it just the one time?" She froze. The therapist looked at both of us. Sarah started crying. That was my answer. It happened again. Once more. I swear, just once. I ended it. I swear on everything. I stood up. I left the session. I didn't say a word. That night I packed a bag. I went to my brother's place. Told him I needed a few days. He didn't ask questions. Sarah texted me. Called me. Left voicemails crying, begging, saying she was sorry. That she didn't want to lose me. That she'd do anything. But I didn't reply. And here's the part one haven't told anyone, not even my therapist. A week after I left, I went through her phone. Yeah, I know. It's not right. But I needed to know. She'd deleted most of the messages, but she missed some of the older ones, screenshots saved in her gallery. I scrolled and found a photo of them together. In our apartment. On our couch. Same couch where we used to cuddle on lazy Sundays. She was laughing. He was shirtless. The timestamp was from a month before she confessed. That wasn't the second time. That was more like the 10th. I felt sick. I haven't confronted her about the photo yet. I don't know what to do. I don't even know if I want to fight for this anymore. Part of me wants to burn it all down. The other part? I don't even recognize that part anymore. It's quiet. Tired. I don't know how this ends. But I know I'm not the same person I was before all of this started. And I don't think I ever will be again. I stayed at my brother's place for nearly 2 weeks. He didn't ask many questions, just handed me beers and put games on TV that neither of us really watched. Every night I lay awake on his scratchy couch, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything. Then something weird happened. One evening, Sarah's sister, Dana, messaged me. We were never close, but we always got along. Her text said, "Can we talk?" Just us. No Sarah. I didn't know what to expect. We met at a diner not far from my brother's place. She looked nervous as hell. Her hands wouldn't stop fidgeting with her coffee mug. "I wasn't going to say anything," she started, "but I can't stay quiet anymore." I waited. "She's not telling you everything," she said, eyes locking with mine. I stayed silent. "She didn't just sleep with one guy," she said slowly. "There were 2. Maybe 3. I only know because she was stupid enough to tell me when she was drunk one night." I felt the blood drain from my face. She said she was bored. Lonely. That she missed feeling wanted. One was Mark from the gym. Another was a co-worker from her old job. I don't know the third. I stared at her, jaw clenched so tight I thought I'd crack a tooth. She said she'd fix things with you. Said she'd never tell? But I think you deserve to know. Dana looked genuinely torn up about it. I could tell she wasn't enjoying being the messenger. I left the diner in a daze. 3 guys? How did I miss this? How could someone fake remorse while hiding that much? I wanted to scream. But I didn't. I went home, to the apartment. Not because I wanted to see her. I just needed to stand in that space again. To feel what it felt like. To know whether I could ever go back. When I walked in, she was sitting on the floor in the living room. Crying. A half-burnt candle flickered on the table. Our wedding album was open on the floor beside her. She looked up at me with swollen eyes. You came back, she whispered. I talked to Dana. The color drained from her face. She didn't even try to lie. She nodded slowly, like her body weighed 100 pounds. I was going to tell you, she said. Eventually. Eventually? I repeated. Like when? After our 15th anniversary? She crumbled. She sobbed so hard she shook. But I didn't move. I didn't comfort her. I just stood there, watching a woman I thought I knew dissolve right in front of me. She confessed. It was 3 guys. 2 from before the first confession. 1 after. And then she said something I wasn't prepared for. There might be a 4th. What do you mean might? I don't know if it counts, she said, choking on the words. It was after I told you I tested positive. It was stupid. I thought you were leaving me for sure. I got drunk. I didn't care anymore. That was it. The last thread snapped. I felt a calm wash over me. Not peace. Just numbness. Like a quiet cold in my bones. I packed more of my things that night. And here's where things took an even stranger turn. A few days later, I got a call from an unknown number. It was Mark. The gym guy. I don't know how he got my number, and I didn't care. He said, I need to tell you something. Sarah told me she was separated. She said you 2 were done? I didn't even know she was married until a month ago. I laughed bitterly. Then he said, also, I'm not the one who gave her the STD. That stopped me. What? She told me you gave it to her. That you cheated first. My chest tightened. I got tested after she told me. I'm clean. I never had anything. Neither did my girlfriend. Yeah, I was cheating too. I'm not proud. But I'm clean. Your wife lied to all of us. I didn't even know what to say. She told him I gave her the STD. She told him I cheated. Meanwhile, she was sleeping with multiple men, lying to everyone, and dragging my name through the mud. It's like I married a stranger. Or worse, a professional liar. I don't know who she really is anymore. Maybe I never did. I haven't spoken to her since that day. But I've started digging. Calling old contacts. Asking quiet questions. Something about all of this doesn't feel like just cheating. It feels darker. More twisted. I couldn't sleep. I'd gone back over every word Sarah ever said to me, trying to spot the red flags I missed. Every smile, every apology, it all felt like a lie now. And that call from Mark? It had cracked something inside me wide open. She hadn't just betrayed me physically. She'd rewritten our story behind my back, painted me as the villain in someone else's version of events. That was the part one couldn't forgive. So I planned a confrontation. I invited her to meet me at Dana's apartment, neutral ground, no memories tied to us. I also told Dana to be there. And I called Mark too. I wanted the truth to come out with no hiding. When Sarah walked in and saw them, her face went pale. Dana stood with her arms crossed. Mark sat at the far end of the room, stiff as a board. I was in the middle. What is this? Sarah asked, voice shaky. Sit down, I said. She didn't move at first. Then slowly, she lowered herself into the chair opposite me. I know everything. I began. Not just about Mark. About the others. About the lies. Her lips parted, but I held up my hand. Don't. Just listen. I laid it all out. Her multiple affairs. Her lie about the STD. Her smear campaign to Mark. The gaslighting. The manipulation. The betrayal. Her face twisted with every word. At first, denial. Then guilt. Then tears. Mark cleared his throat. You told me he gave you the STD, he said bluntly. That he cheated first. I was scared, she stammered. I didn't want him to leave me. Did you even test positive? Dana asked suddenly. Or was that just a hook to draw him in? Silence. Sarah didn't answer. She buried her face in her hands and started sobbing. Dana stood up and stormed into the kitchen. So it was a lie, I said quietly. You faked the whole thing just to control the fallout. I panicked, she wailed. I didn't know what else to do. I thought if you felt bad for me, you'd stay. Mark stood and left without another word. The door slammed. Dana didn't come back out. I loved you, I said to Sarah. Through everything. I worked my ass off to give us a good life. I thought you were the one person I could trust. She crawled toward me on her knees. Please, I'll do anything. I'll change. I'll go to therapy. I'll never lie again. I swear. I stepped back. You already said that. And then you kept lying. She started screaming, pleading, clutching at my leg. I felt nothing. No anger. No pity. Just exhaustion. Let go, I said. She didn't. I had to gently peel her off me. Dana came back out, red-faced. He deserves better, Sarah, she said. And you know it. Sarah froze. I picked up my bag. Looked around the room one last time. I hope you find help, I said, but it won't be with me. She collapsed in a heap as I walked out. The days after were a blur. I moved into a short-term place while I sorted out the legal stuff. Friends reached out. Most were shocked. Some weren't. One of my coworkers told me she once saw Sarah with a guy at a restaurant in Lincoln Park months ago, but didn't want to get involved. I cut off contact with her completely. Blocked her number. Unfollowed everything. My therapist helped me process it all slowly. I found moments of peace. Little things, like not second-guessing why she was late. Or not wondering if the truth I was hearing was the whole truth. But I also felt grief. Real grief. For the version of my marriage that I thought was real. For the future I thought I had. For the person I used to be before all this. Sarah tried to send letters. Dana told me. But I didn't read them. I didn't need more empty words. Some people asked if I'd ever forgive her. Here's the truth, I already did. For myself. Not for her. Holding on to that hate was poisoning me, and she didn't deserve that power anymore. But forgiving her doesn't mean trusting her. Or letting her back in. It means I get to move forward without dragging the wreckage with me. I'm not sure what's next. I'm not rushing into anything. I spend more time with my brother now. I've picked up old hobbies again. I even joined a book club, never thought I'd say that. I still wake up some nights with that tightness in my chest. Like I forgot something important. Then I remember and it passes. What did I learn? That love doesn't fix lies. That effort can't patch holes made by secrets. That sometimes the person you trust the most is wearing a mask, and the scariest thing is how good they are at it. Am I okay now? I don't know. But I'm getting there. And for now, that's enough.